Are you tired of those late afternoon slumps, mind fog, grogginess, sugar cravings? Are you tired of trying to lose the last 10, 20, 30 pounds, no matter how hard you try? No matter how often you go to the gym, no matter what you eat, the weight seems not to be going on. What we need to do here is, I want you to understand that it's not your fault that you're struggling to lose weight. It's only that your body is tapping into the wrong fuel. We have two fuel systems for your body. Now, don't forget that your body is a hybrid. And as a hybrid, it means it has the ability to burn either fat as your main source of fuel or burn sugar. But let's look in the next 5-7 minutes. I want you to understand how exactly your body works. For the sake of understanding of this talk, I will simplify the human metabolic system. And this becomes your brain, this becomes your liver, plus your muscle cells. This is your blood vessels. This is your fat cells. And here is your pancreas that is responsible, number one, for your insulin, for your glucagon, and your leptin. This is your metabolic system. Now, everything here is in the oven. Your brain is the control center. You're feeling hungry. You're feeling lethargic. You're putting on weight. All those things are controlled by the hypothalamus part of your brain. And then it starts sending out signals to determine what you're going to do, what action you're going to take, what cravings you'll take, and how you're going to feel. Now, we have two energy sources. Now, for the sake of this, I'll simplify this. We have three macronutrients. Number one here is carbohydrates that we call starch. Number two is proteins, anything that moves, anything that walks, and anything that swims. And number three is fats. All these three macronutrients have a different hormonal response when you eat them. Now, if you look at this, majority of us eat up to roughly between 70 and 80% of our food or caloric intake comes from carbohydrates. The minute that happens, straight away, it means our blood sugar level goes through the roof. Our blood sugar level goes through the roof. And if your blood sugar level goes through the roof here, it means your brain, the part of your brain, your hypothalamus, talks to your pancreas and it says, hey, Tuskin is going to die. And how is she going to die? It means that because her weight is up, automatically it means that you're going to struggle with things like diabetes. And at that point, because your sugar is up, your pancreas releases your insulin, and the function of insulin here is to regulate your blood sugar levels. These two foods are stored in two different places. Carbohydrates, sugars, all those are stored right here in your muscle cells. Depending on what is the source of carbohydrates, if you're eating simple carbohydrates, things like your fruits, they get stored in your liver. But the majority of carbs that we eat, your pastas, your bread, your rice, your sweet potato, your English potato, they get stored as glycogen in your muscle cells. Now, if your blood sugar level keeps on rising, and let's use an example of you going to a restaurant, the first thing that the waiter places in front of your table here is going to be bread. And in most cases, it's always white bread, and they'll always give you bread with butter. That automatically will increase your blood sugar levels. Your brain will talk to your pancreas. Pancreas will release insulin. Insulin will come, and straight away it will shuttle all this sugar into your bloodstream. At that point, your blood sugar level drops. And what is the next thing most people do? They will always order a drink. The waiter will come to you and ask you about a drink. What are most drinks that most of us order when we're in restaurants, it will either be a cold drink, it will be beer, it will be wine, it will be juices, it will be coffee. All those things, what do? Same process. Your sugar goes up, your insulin is released, it's brought in here, and that comes down. This is when the waiter comes and we order the main meal. And the main meal in most cases is irrespective, because your blood sugar level has been hyped here, it's been hacked. You're going to order a bigger main meal, irrespective of quality. Even if you order full Nando's chicken, you order 300, 500 gram fillet steak. If a meal is too big, you always have a blood sugar response, which means your insulin is high. Now remember, as long as you keep on spiking from an insulin point of view, you become what we call a sugar burner. You storing all those calories as sugar. This comes down after you've eaten your main meal, and what is the next thing when the waiter comes to clear the table? What do they put next to you? They will always place dessert menu. What is the dessert made of? Most desserts are sugar. What happens? You spike again. Your blood sugar level goes up. So as long as you have this cascade, the insulin spikes. Whether you like it or not, you're not going to be able to lose weight. You're not going to be able to change the shape of your body, because consistently you are in a fat burning state. Now, how do we turn you from being a sugar burner to a fat burner? Remember, as long as you have this glycogen that is stored here as sugar, no matter how long you train, no matter how hard you train, the main source of fuel in your bloodstream will be what is in here. But the most important thing here you have to understand is, as much as your sugar comes down because the insulin has been released, your insulin levels constantly keep on staying up. But for you to understand how dangerous that is, you need to understand what is the function of insulin. The easiest definition here is insulin is a fat storing hormone. Every time insulin goes up, whatever is in your bloodstream has to be stored somewhere, and it can only be stored as glycogen. Insulin cannot store anything as triglycerides, and is not going to be able to store it as amino acid, which is protein. So as long as your insulin is high, your insulin is a fat storing hormone. Now remember, insulin is inversely related to glucagon. If insulin is high, it means glucagon is down. Insulin is the opposite of glucagon. So if insulin is your fat storing hormone, what is the function of glucagon? Write it for me in the chart. What is the function of glucagon if it's the opposite of insulin? It's your fat burning hormone. Fat burning hormone. So if we're going to burn fat, which means by burning fat we're increasing our metabolism, we have to make sure that insulin goes down and your glucagon comes up. How do we turn from being a sugar burner to a fat burner? And this is where we bring in what we call the 7-day here at Dream Body Fitness. We call it the Insulin Reset Phase, the Insulin Reset Week, which will last between 7 to 8 days. What that basically means is that we're going to cut out any ingestion of starchy or processed carbohydrates. We're going to increase your protein intake. We're going to increase your greens intake because of your magnesium, because of the minerals you need from a digestive point of view, and we're going to increase your fat intake. And by doing that, automatically, the first thing that we're going to cut off, we're going to cut off insulin spikes. And by cutting insulin spikes, it means anything that you do, your body will be forced to start using whatever is stored here as glycogen. Depending on size, depending on your body composition, depending on how old you are, depending on how physically fit you are, people are storing average between 150 to 400 grams of glycogen here. Glycogen as in glycogen as starch. Now we need to be able to deplete that. If we're going to cut that out for the next 7-10 days, automatically it means we're going to be able to deplete this. Now if we deplete this, it means your body has to find an alternative source of fuel. Where will that come from? Automatically we change from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. How does that happen? If there is no energy here to fuel your body has to look for the excess fat that is stored in your body. Because the biggest problem with most people, they train hard, they try to eat as clean as they can, but until we make this switch, until we turn you, remember you are hybrid, until we switch this off and your body automatically, the fat that you see in your midsection, the fat that you see on your hips, the fat that you see under your arms, the fat for men that you see under your breasts or your chest, that is because that is the fat that we need to burn. But for us to burn that, we need to activate glucagon. To activate glucagon, we have to suppress insulin, and your hormones are only released in response to the nutrition or the kind of calories that you put in your body. And this is how we're going to be able to do that for you. So in the link below, we have our 7-day reset program. Click on the link, join our programs, and let's see how fast we can help you. God bless, take care of yourself, and let me know if this makes sense.